This time, we'd like to introduce our second speaker this evening, Toastmaster Ken Blake, with his speech entitled, The Last Message.
Thinking about this contest, the speech, brought me back to a speech that I gave over 10 years ago. And if there wasn't something else to add to this speech, I really wouldn't have thought it would be of merit. But there is more to this story. My phone number, last 4 digits, since 1970, was 0792. We all have a phone number. We remember that number. And that number was dear to me because it was a number that my wife had picked out for a number. And I still to this day don't know why. But 0792 was my number for many years. In the 90s, we moved out of that area. And I paid extra every month just to keep that number. We just kept the number. I started getting these strange little phone calls. Woo. Woo-hoo. And I would answer back, woo-hoo to you-hoo. And then hang up, not knowing what this was about. So there was a mystery, but I found out the purpose of that mystery months later when it started to get more often with these numbers. See, people would call up and they would ask for Peking duck. Something Szechuan. I didn't know, and I finally realized after several months, my number, 0792, was very close to another number, 0752. Now what would you do? I asked, what would a person do? Would you change your number? No. I did the best thing. I would just tell people you have called the wrong number. You need to call 0752. And they would call back. What would I do? So I called 0752 and I found out that it was Kim Woo Chinese takeout. Tell you the story. When I was a wee lad, myself, my 2 brothers, my mom, and my dad would come home because every week we would go for Chinese. We would dress up and we would all get it and wait for my dad to come home, and then it would be takeout because he had to work late. So we never knew what to expect, but we always dressed up for the Chinese. So I learned I didn't care for the Chinese. I liked the restaurant, but I didn't care for the Chinese takeout. But this place was getting busy. I would get more calls. I would write, I would take, I would place orders for Kim Woo Chinese restaurant. How long? Anybody want to guess how long? 10 years. 10 years I would take and place. I had my own customers. A lot of times they would call back. Not so spicy. I never frequented this restaurant because my vision was a takeout. And then it happened. Happened to be on Kirkman Boulevard by Universal Studios one day because I lived way out on the east side of town. And I see the bulletin. The big sign, Kim Woo Restaurant, 1 mile ahead. It was 5 o'clock at night. Why not? I'll stop. I will just see this man, this Mr. Kim Woo, who I have talked to for 10 years. I walk in, I see this big line of customers. They came from me, I know. But the hostess came out and she asked if I was there for dining. Dining? This is takeout. No, we have a restaurant. Follow me. I walk into this restaurant. It's magnificent. You know, with the aquarium and the fish and the music and the tablecloths. But I know the menu. No, I don't take out menu. I don't know the house menu. So I ordered the food. The most succulent shrimp and lobster I ever ate. They should have called it lobster lobster with shrimp sauce. It was so delicious. It was the best food that I ever ate. Okay. It's time to pay the bill. I go to the cashier and I say, this is the best Chinese food I've ever eaten. They have such those big noodles. Everybody has the small noodles. You have those real big noodles. I know. She says, oh, your voice. Very familiar. I know, because I call here a lot. She says, your phone number? You 92? I said, yes, I'm 92. She says, wait. She walks to this room. This man comes out. He looks at me and goes, Blake? You Kim Blake? And I said, yes, I'm Ken Blake. He says, no, I get your messages. No, wait a minute. For 10 years, I would take and place the messages. I never realized my number is close to his number. He must have gotten my messages. But forget the messages. I says, but you never give me messages. He says, I know I call you, give me the woo-woo when you hang up. That would be the end of the story. 2 years ago, I moved to Universal off of Kirkman. Half a mile from Kim Woo Restaurant. So for the last 2 years, I have met with this man. And I would come in, sure, he'd give me his messages. My messages, they're all in Chinese. I couldn't read them. Okay? What's this Toastmaster? Okay. Anyway, I went in there about 2 months ago. And I asked for Mr. Wu. He said, oh, no, Mr. Wu's not here. Where'd he go? He says, he's not here. I says, that's a shame, because I would come here. I've known him for like 12, 13, 14 years, so long. He says, are you 9'2"? And I said, yes, I'm 9'2". He says, you Blake? I said, yes, I'm Blake. He says, I got a package. I got a package for you. So he gave me the package. Now, I didn't bring the package today, but I'll read you what the message was. I remember first time I see you, as many years I only know your voice. Glad to see you eat at restaurant. I have conversation with you. For a long time, I take your messages as your number very similar. I give you this machine to remind you how your messages drove me crazy. I now sell Kim Woo to new owner and go to China. I hope you get new number someday, but not similar to other business person. Your message drive them crazy. Also, Moo Goo Gai Pan is chicken, not pork.
At this time, we will observe 1 minute of silence for our judges.